Hello and welcome to the R.S.01 Trophy Round number 4. We are here at Racing Sims. I'm of course Monkey Matt, your host, joined by EVP once again. It's getting down to the wire in the championship. It is going to be interesting to see all these drivers probably attack to the limit and try and make the most of these last few opportunities. But as always, it is a one-make series here tonight, the R.S.01 Trophy. If you are new, we are using the R.S.01 Renault Sport car. This one was specifically designed for the Renault one-make series that they had. This car is an absolute beast though, really set up to be specifically a race car and built to be as such. 550 approximately horsepower, 1150 kgs, and a lot of extra downforce and aero parts you can see in some of these shots that give it more performance than your typical sort of GT3 car. So then we'll be using that car for 2 races tonight, as is the typical format. We've got first up Kyoto, Yamagiwa. This is the first of the GT original circuits we'll be racing on tonight. Of course, the Polyphony Grand Prix, both circuits GT originals. This one is going to be interesting. It's 4.9 kilometers, 13 corners, and typical lap time we're looking at about a 1:31. So if anyone can get in that sort of range, or maybe even a little bit faster, then they will be doing well. It's going to be hard to overtake in the race though, so keep an eye on that. Everyone's going to be in full attack mode. Can't really rely on strategy in our sprint races. But yeah, I'm definitely keen to see how all these drivers get on with this one. Then in race number 2, it is our feature race, Lago Maggiore, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name, so I apologize. It is based in Italy. Of course, again, another GT original track, so when I say based in Italy, there's not a real track there, but this location does exist, and Polyphony actually called it out and thought that, hey, this would be a cool spot for a racetrack. Why don't we sort of design it and see what it can look like? This one is going to provide a few more racing opportunities, and it's also got that strategy in there as well. You can see it on your screen. 8 times fuel consumption, 3 times tire wear, mediums and hard tires. You have to use the hard tire at some point. It's been a great format so far in this championship. I'm sure it's going to be the same tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing to note with Lago Maggiore, or however you say it, because it's designated as a GP circuit and an original, they've gone ahead and chucked in 2 really long straights just to simulate those DRS zones. So with the strength of the slipstream being what it is in this sort of iteration of GT Sport, I imagine those would be pretty prime attack zones throughout our race tonight.
Exactly. And we've got 12 laps to attack. We're expecting to see lap times around the 1:52 mark. So again, if anyone's beating that, then they're doing really well. Particularly keep an eye on that massive banked corner. It is the main feature, the exciting point of this track. You're going up this massive hill, turning around, then straight back down the other side. I'm sure we're going to see some moves done there, and hopefully everyone can keep it tidy throughout. So then, that is what we have lined up tonight. We're going to be watching Lobby B's race first. Of course, so many people are interested in this series, which we love to get everyone involved. So we've got 2 lobbies here tonight, so we can't fit all in one. We're going to watch Lobby B race number 1 first, so that is the sprint race. And then we're going to switch over and watch both of Lobby A races coming up a little bit later, so that is going to be absolutely huge. But I'm excited to see. I think, do we have one of these slow boys in this lobby? We've got some livery reveals. I love to see Airborne coming in each week with a new livery. We saw it in the Discord. If you're not in the Monkey Motorsport Club Discord, then get amongst it. And I believe Team Slow have a special new livery as well. We've also got Flying Kiwi joining us for the first time. 8 drivers lining up now, heading out into qualifying. So we will jump across and get into the action. Here we go then, taking a look at Airborne as they start to get themselves warmed up on the outlap, trying to find position. Here we have Sunday Brewing Club, is this? Love it, from Honorably Airborne there. As he's in this lobby, we do have Big Head Ted joining us for the first time, so he's a late entry getting amongst. So we have a look at his livery here as well. He's all liveried up. Of course, this guy is well known amongst the Monkey Motorsport Club community as the GT Sport Drifting Pro. And he's got the livery that goes with it as well.
I want to shout out, very appropriate for Kyoto Yamagiwa, showing up in the Hatsune Miku anime-themed or idol-themed livery. Extra points.
So that is Big Head Ted. How is he going to get on in his first time here in the R.S.01 Renault sports car? A little bit of a handful, some of these drivers say, but it was designed actually to provide quite a high level of grip, but it's just got that much power that you do have to be gentle on the accelerator pedal coming out of some of these corners. Yes, Big Head Ted's going to be the first one to cross the line and start his flying lap. We've also got Victory Rain coming in from the UK. Awesome to see the international drivers getting involved. Of course, we are a New Zealand-based series, which means basically all it means is that we operate in New Zealand time zone. If anyone's willing to jump on board and wants to get some awesome racing action, particularly now that we can't be racing out in the real world, then get amongst it here in GT Sport, here with the Monkey Motorsport Club. This is the best way to do it if you do ask me. Alright then, looking through the field, we also have Ethan's here in this lobby. He unfortunately disconnected from a race in the previous one, so lost a few championship points, or rather he had to go and attend to some other business and missed the race and lost a few championship points as a result, but we know he's a quick driver and he can be competitive. Here with Red Sector Racing with the Red Bull livery, we absolutely love to see it. And again, another familiar name, even with MMC, they're into the gamer tag. Absolutely huge. And then I mentioned earlier, Flying Kiwi joining us for the first time here. He's got the V livery. Love to see this as well with that New Zealand theme on the side there. How good is that? I'm definitely keen to see how he stacks up. He's had some great results that we see him posting a few times in the Discord in the Monkey Motorsport Club, but he's getting a little bit wild as he tries to get the lap time. We've only got 2 minutes left to go in the qualifying session, so there's not much time. These guys are only going to get time for 2 flying laps. Flying Kiwi maybe has the stream on as well as he flashes the light. Victory Rain crosses the line and gets a 1 minute 30.2, so he just completely blows my theory of a 131. We've got a couple of drivers in the 131s, but Victory Rain has just absolutely smashed it there on the first lap. Can anyone try and match that? It's Ethan's in second place at the moment, and then Honorably Airborne sitting in third. There's a few more drivers now coming across the line and setting those first flying laps. It is these guys. It is Victory Rain leading the way, and it is actually Lapwing who's managed to sneak into second place at the moment. Again, a familiar livery here from TM Lapwing. We saw him in Lobby A last week. Unfortunately, didn't quite go his way, along with Airborne actually. So both those drivers, they managed to get promoted to the top split, and then it didn't quite go their way in the Rainmasters round, and they've come back split number 2, Lobby B, and see if they can be at the pointy end again. I have no doubt that if they can sort of channel their best driving, that it can do that. So Victory Rain has crossed the line. He is in those 1 minute 30s. These other guys using the slipstring is Lapwing pushing down the line. It is not going to be an improvement there as he crosses the line. It is at the end of the session. It is indeed the end of the session. So these are the last lap times coming in. Inexile sets a time. Inexile jumps up the leaderboard into 4th position. I told you that lap earlier wasn't representative. He's done a great job on lap number 2, and you can see how close those times are. 0.068 separating 4th and 5th. That is just cracking qualifying session here.
Pretty strong recovery from our young man in Excel GTR to bring it home into 4th, but we'll be looking at Victory Rain taking that pole position spot with a flyer in 1:30.252, and Lapwing near enough, like maybe 8/10 off the pace. No, 6/10, I can't count. But yeah, it's pretty thrilling stuff here as they boys coast through the last 15 seconds of this session.
Here we go then, race number 1. You can see the positions on your screen. Confirmation after qualifying. Ethan's managed to set a fast time right at the end there and get himself up onto the front row. It is Victory Rain though who is going to lead us away ahead of Ethan's. Then Lapwing and Honorably Airborne on the second row of the grid. NXL and Big Head Ted. Row number 3 Flying Kiwi and Shocker in there as well. And it's a jump start from Lapwing, and there might have been a jump start from someone further back as well. That's going to drop Lapwing right down the order after a nice qualifying. He picks up that early penalty. Ethan's is thinking about the inside. They're almost looking at 3 wide through turn number 1, but Victory Rain leads us through the first turn. We have 7 laps of action coming up, but currently Ethan's and Airborne tussling for second place. Ethan's manages to just tuck in, and of course through this S's section, you do not want to be going side by side too much. That'll really slow you down. And Ethan's now looking to try and make a move. He's not been slowed down at all. Tucking to the inside of Victory Rain. Is he going to get it done here on lap 1? Victory Rain's out sideways as he pushes the grip to the limit. Is he going to be able to hold off around the outside? He does! That is cracking right there. I can't believe he managed to hang on to that one.
It's incredibly brave from Victory Rain to keep his foot in it. He had every opportunity for that car to break loose and bite him in the rear end under immense pressure from Ethan's. As he looks to the inside and makes a move, maybe compromises run up the hill here as Victory Rain is not keen to give up. He's got the priority for that very next corner. It is thrilling stuff as we are not even through the second sector yet.
There we go, and Ethan's has got it done, but Victory Lane is crossing back. All these cars still so close here on the opening lap. Ethan's just managing to cover off Victory Lane as they head into the right-hander again, a fast-flowing section. So, we did mention earlier that it could be tough to overtake through some of these sections on this track, and that maybe is one of them as Victory Lane tucks in. Now he tries to line it up and think about where can he get a move done as they head round the final corner, the big hairpin, and down the long straight. You can see everyone tucking into the slipstream. They want to get as much speed down the straight as possible, make the most of this opportunity. Ethan's, though, still leading them away, doing a great job on lap 1 to get into the front. Now leads them into the first turn, but Victory Lane's putting all sorts of pressure on. His battle is up and down the field, but this one at the front, we can't take our eyes off it. This is so good.
These guys are doing a fantastic job of running line astern through the chicane. Maybe a bit of a heartbreaker for Heartstopper. It looks like he got a little out of sorts in that first lap, and he's lost touch with that slipstream a little bit. As Victory Lane has a look on the right side of Ethan's going into the left-hander, late on the brakes. Is he going to hang around the outside? Oh, I can't.
No way. He went round, he hung on around the outside on the first lap, can't quite do it on lap number 2. Ethan's managing to hang on, and this has brought Honorably Airborne right into the mix. NXL is there as well. Honorably Airborne trying to capitalize down the inside. Is he going to pull it off? No, he's not. Oh my goodness, Victory Lane manages to just hang on for the time being, but it's a four-way fight at the front. We'll also mention that Lapwing, after that penalty off the start of the race, has managed to recover a little bit. He's up to 6th, but we're keeping a look at this front battle because all 4 of these drivers so close, and in fact they're bringing into the next drivers as well. Everyone very close together. Of course, it is just a sprint race here.
Big Hit 10's got round.
Oh, in the background, can we get a replay? Big Head 10, big spin. Let's take a look. Oh, he's just ended up wide, off into the grass, spins it round big time, and that's cost him a lot of positions. And
now he's right there in the mix with Flying Kiwi, who also must have just got out of sorts there, but we'll check back in with Ethan's at the front to see how they're going. Let's start the next lap.
Don't you love it though? Even after your spin, you still have a chance to battle against someone and have some good close racing, as this could not be closer with Victory Lane and Ethan's at the front here. Victory Lane was trying to find a way through. Ethan's covers off the inside once again, as these guys just pushed to the maximum. I was in the middle of saying 1 times tyre wear, 1 times fuel consumption, only 7 laps, so it is just flat out light to flag.
Look at Victory Lane just swarming left and right, trying to probe Ethan's for weakness. A bit unlucky for Airborne too. It looks like he's carrying 1.4 seconds of a penalty, and he's trying it around the outside again. Same spot, same try, half a chance.
Well.
Here we go.
Can you believe it? Victory Lane around the outside. He gets it done. Honorary Airborne's going to be there as well, but this is absolute madness. Victory Lane's launched it around the outside all 3 laps so far. Can Ethan's maybe try and get back in there? And oh shoot, there's a little bit of a slide. Ethan's is right back in there. They're coming up to the hairpin now. This is a great opportunity to try and get on those brakes late. Ethan's going to have to...
Oh my goodness!
Honorably Airborne's going to try and capitalize. Ethan's goes deep as he tries to go around the outside. Honorably Airborne, though, tucks in and tries to make the most of it. Doesn't... Oh no! Big moment as he touches the grass, and that is Honorably Airborne. All he needs, does not need a second invitation at all. Straight on through up to 2nd place, and Ethan's down to 3rd in the space of a few corners.
That 3-way battle has also closed up that gap back to NXL, and there's one thing we learned about Hoon Corp is that if you leave the door open for them, they will fix bayonets and they're ready to charge.
And it also has allowed Lapwing to keep closing in. He's moved up to 5th position on this great recovery drive. As now Airborne is looking like he wants to go for the lead here. Thinks about the inside, but we know how good Victory Lane is when he is going around the outside of these long sweepers. Speaking of the outside of the long sweepers, NXL getting a bit wrong there, potentially out quite wide. Although that is one of those corners where you can take different lines and still find speed. So you might see sometimes that those drivers do opt to sort of, as I say, take slightly different lines through that corner, maybe opting to go really wide and hang it out wide, or try and tuck it in and ride it around the curve. This is a similar corner here through this left-hander. This is where we've seen Victory Lane making those moves, but he's through there cleanly at the moment, just single file between these front 3. It's Ethan's putting on all sorts of pressure here on Airborne on lap number 4.
I mean, we shouldn't be too surprised given that he ran a 1:30 in qualifying and he's running about a 1:32 now. But now that he's in the front and he's got some clear air to run around, he's feeling free to open up that gap. Whatever speed he had that let him overtake on the outside, it's really on show now as Ethan's is caught up in this battle with Airborne.
And Ethan just ducks out from behind Airborne and goes to the inside. Airborne gets a little bit of ghosting, but it's all clean and done as Ethan's makes the move up to 2nd place. And what a move. Great driving.
Lapwing is not keen to settle either. If we just take a quick look back here, watch him fight to get back. Caught up with NXL in that last corner. He is really hard judging here. Watch him get a little bit loose on exit as he's just full commit.
Absolutely love to see it. And oh no! Oh, we just tuned right back in, and lap when we were just giving him the good word. Feels like a commentator's curse there as he gets a little bit on the grass, and that is all it takes. Right round he goes.
Sorry, Lapwing, I really didn't mean to do that to you.
Oh my goodness. I will just say as well, we were talking about lap times. They're doing about 1:30. Oh, they're dipped into the 1:31s even, so it's high pace. But in that qualifying session, we did see a 1:30, but that was with no tyre wear and no fuel turned on. So we turned those off for qualifying, so to make sure these drivers just push to the absolute maximum, and we really see the best out of them, and we saw those great lap times. So it is expected that the lap times during the race will be a little bit lower, because of course we do have fuel, and it's causing some of these guys to slide around. Victory Rain getting loose on the exit there as he's trying to keep ahead of Ethan's, who's charging and catching up.
Yeah, it's a pretty even fight there. Like, what will happen is like one driver will go green in one sector, and then the other guy will spot a window and charge right back. So it's tit for tat here, and like it's really up to the ITs for you to pick who's going to win, because like the stats reflect it.
Exactly right. We've seen the TAB have added betting to esports. If you're a betting man, who are you betting on now? Because it's so hard to call between Victory Rain, Ethan's, and Airborne. Airborne is still right amongst it. He's actually sort of applying that pressure now to the back of Ethan. So it's kind of keeps swinging back and forth. As you mentioned, Ethan's was on the attack. Now he's having to think about defense. So Airborne is all amongst it.
Yeah, and the way these penalties have been working out with the lack of that penalty line, he's been shaving off like a half a second of that penalty a lap. So expect that last lap to just really get unhinged, unleashed, so to speak, as he'll be free of that penalty and like eager to make moves.
This, of course, is the R.S.01 Trophy. If you are just tuning in, round number 4. We welcome all comers. We're trying to be the most welcoming esports out there, and yeah, we're keen for all sim racers to get involved and have some fun. This lobby is not full, so if you want to jump in, then there is an opportunity to do that. And get involved. There is going to be one more finals round coming up next week as well. But after this race, we're going to jump over to Lobby A, where we have all the top guys in the championship, and we're going to watch both of their races. Race A here at Kyoto Yamagiwa, so we're going to get plenty of Kyoto Yamagiwa in our systems, and if it's anything like this, then I am more than happy to do that. And then of course our second race coming up after that is going to be Lago Maggiore, which I'm really excited about. Always loved the feature race format.
Yeah, like that track is really one of the prettier ones as far as Gran Turismo Sport design tracks out there. All the originals have really been fantastic. I'm still waiting on the return for Trial Mountain, but until then, I'll take Lago Maggiore. In the meantime, it's honorary airborne. It's gone.
Oh, no.
They've all gone out of sorts. Just on that right-hand curve. It's like it's the outside curve of death. What happened there? Take you for a quick replay here, because we had honorary airborne through the right-hander. He took a little bit too much of that inside curve by the looks of things. Touched the wall, is able to recover, but it is In Exile who was the net loser on that exchange. Touching the wall, just spinning a little bit around and just losing a decent amount of time there.
And we've seen it a few times in this race. You don't have to be, you just touch that grass like a little bit. You don't have to be very wide. And that's enough to lose grip in these cars, and it'll really spin you around quite quickly. And definitely it's a balance about pushing to the limit, but making sure you don't go over the limit. It's like I say, it only takes a small amount, and these cars will really bite you.
I'll take you back up to the top here, Matt, because it looks like our fight is entering its final round on this last lap of our sprint race here at Kyoto Yamagiwa. And Victory Rain is looking to hold off the charge of Rector Sector Racing's Ethans, who's just flashing his lights, letting him know, hey cowboy, I'm still here, I'm lurking, I'm ready to make a move once you open the door.
Yeah, and always as a driver, you are thinking about what's behind you. You got to try and focus on front, but you also got to be aware when those lights are flashing that they can be a little bit distracting depending on where your attention is. So Ethan's just thinking any opportunity, any little mistake. That's what he wants. He just wants to see a little mistake from Victory Rain. He is right there to try and capitalize. But so far, Victory Rain has been doing an absolutely cracking job, keeping it clean the entire time, racing with utmost speed and skill as he comes now to the final corner of the race here at Kyoto Yamagiwa. The sprint race format has been good. It has been action-packed. He's got the "You're slow" there on the back on his on his number plate, and that's appropriate as he crosses the line and takes the win, the fastest driver on the day. It is victory reign. Congratulations. Ethan's doing a great job as well, hanging into second. It was so close between those two. Honorably Airborne gets third. In Exile hangs on to fourth. Dr. Shocker up to fifth. Heartstopper sixth. And Lapwing must have had another moment. He drops down to seventh with Big Head Ted. Flying Kiwi rounding out your field. Big congratulations then to Victory Reign, tuning in from the UK and takes it to us Kiwis, gets the 3-star victory. And you can't ask for much more than that. What a cracking race. So good early on. There was so many drivers like in the running for so long. But yeah, and some great moves.
Yeah, it's just Ethan's left it all out on the table in that last lap. Purple third sector and hard charging through the fourth in his attempt to catch up with Victory Reign. But the sun never sets on his empire, and he was able to cross the line in first place and eke out a win at Kyoto Yamagiwa.
But there's more fun times coming up with the sim racing. I am excited to get into Lobby A, about to get things underway, giving the lobby admin the signal, which I believe is in Nismanath this week for Lobby A, and we have a stacked room coming up. I am super excited about it. We've of course got qualifying coming up first. It is 5-minute shootout once again. No tyre wear, no fuel consumption, so these guys are flat out from the start, and we're looking now at McEwen gets himself on track first. He is of course currently leading the championship, and while they're just on their outlet, let's take a quick look at those current championship points, because we want to tune into where the battles are. He's leading the championship ahead of W True and Psydog, who are close behind as well. This is only 8 points between it at the moment for the top of the championship, and of course Psydog in there only a few points behind again, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on these battles. But once again, there's battles up and down the field. Stuart McKenzie and Mustang Lover right next to each other there. Mercado, Alpha Finn right next to each other. But so those are some of the battles to keep an eye on. That's what it is before race 1. Of course, 2 races coming up tonight, and we want to get into it. We do have Stuart McKenzie in there. We do have... Sorry, let's jump back. If I can... Let's jump back and have a look. Can we bring up the leaderboard again? So we do have McEwen, Psydog, Norm, Alpha Finn, W True. Huzo's joining us for the first time. Awesome to have him tuning in from Australia. Night Shift, Mustang Lover, we mentioned him, locked in a tight battle in the championship. Ricardo, we've talked about him a lot, coming in from Japan. Mackenzie, Nismanath, and I believe we can even scroll down on this list. No, we can't. 12 drivers lining up on the grid, ready to go for race number 1 of the night. Round 4, of course, here in the R.S.01 Trophy. And here is a look at Huzo. He's jumped in last minute, wasn't perhaps expecting to be driving here tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. And already trying to handle that car as he gets a little bit sideways. But you know what's going to happen next. I'm going to mention that default livery. It's already been called out in chat, because that's going to cost him a few tenths in the lap times.
Well, who hasn't been held up by the default livery curse so far is Psydog, who's currently gone purple through the first 2 sectors.
Psydog on a flying lap there, but purple in sector number 3 is McEwen. So these two are going to be locked in battle once again. We've seen it a few times through this championship. Of course, these are the 2 guys that have been to World Tours. They have that international experience, and now putting it on show as he gets a 129.1. Absolutely flying, and 3 drivers straight away in the 129s. These guys are on it tonight. This is the sort of racing we want to see, and if you're out there learning and wanting to pick up some skills, these are the guys you want to watch, because what skill to get those sort of times, what speed.
Mamma mia, it is a Psydog Deltro and Alpha Melfin. He's already banked a 129.6, so maybe he's not too worried about that spin there, but these boys are on it today.
He's got a fast lap, you mentioned it, he's banked that lap time, so perhaps he was just, after he got that lap time, he knew he was just pushing all or nothing here on the second lap. Unfortunately, he's come up with nothing on the second lap, but currently in third after that lap number 1, got him in the 29s as well, so flying there from Alpha Male Finn. And Scooter 82 close to the battle as well. He's currently sitting in 4th position on the lap times, a 1:30.2. Exactly. McEwen comes across the line. They're all going to set their final lap times now as the qualifying session has ended. Scooter 82 sets a nice lap time, getting in the 29s again. So 5 drivers in the 29s. And look how close these lap times are. There was 0.05 separating a couple of guys there. Look at the leaderboard. Psydog is going to come home in pole ahead of W True on the front row. McEwen in third, so well. Top 3 in the championship, I believe, are in top reverse order from the championship positions. They're in the top 3 though. And then Alpha Finn in 4th, Scooter 82 in 5th, Mackenzie doing well as well. He's up in 5th, Ricardo, Norm, and Huzo, the newcomer, in amongst it, coming through. But we're just waiting now for the final drivers to cross the line and finish their qualifying session. Norm now sneaks in 1 minute 30.3. He's currently in 7th place, but straight away gets beaten as Huzo sets a nice lap time there to put himself up into 6th position. And then Mackenzie jumps in by the small margin and gets himself up to 6th, knocking Huzo down to 7th spot. And honestly, that's the difference that default livery will make. If he could have been in 6th, because you can see Stuart Mackenzie here in his nice Mysterio Motorsport livery, of course teaming up with Pure Axle in the team championship. And here is confirmation of those results. Psydog, Dubtrue, McEwen, and Alpha Male Finn. Rick, though, feeling like he missed out on the luck in his home track.
Yeah, he'll be a little bit miffed on that one. I was checking in on his stream earlier in the week where he was going through some daily races, a little bit of that manufacturer stuff. He was looking pretty sharp, so he must clearly be hoping to carry that over into the Monkey Motorsport Club.
Exactly right. 7 laps of racing coming up. It is the sprint race. Once again, the same format we saw from Lobby B race earlier. So expect these guys to be pushing maximum attack the entire time. And we're about to get lights out as Psydog is going to lead us away. Can he get the jump? Oh, and it was a nice jump there. McEwen just a little bit slower. That's allowed Alpha Finn to go up the inside. The 2 teammates. Psydog leading us through the first couple of corners. No such trouble as we saw Victory Rain having that battles early on. Psydog's just built a couple of car lengths lead. Dubtrue has got McEwen all over the back of him, so he recovered after that potentially slower start. Got back past Alpha Male Finn. It's a little bit of a gap now opening up between 3rd and 4th as these front guys really put the hammer down early. Oh!
Dubtrue just getting a little bit out of sorts there, coming out of the corner in the acceleration zone. That's opened the door for McEwen, who'll have a look on the inside.
Tough place to do a pass, but he wants to make it happen. Dubtrue goes deep under brakes, trying to hold the position. Doesn't work out for him. I told you it was going to be a tough place to pass, and it's really backfired here for Dubtrue. It's really costing him time as he might lose more positions here. Can he hang on? Scooter 82 is going to go down the inside and move up into 3rd. Ricardo! Last minute
Send
lunge.
it, son!
He's gone down the inside. Oh no, there's big moments. Big drama, Dubtrue. That is huge as he drops all the way back down to 8th. And he's still trying to gather it up. He's still trying to get back in that rhythm.
Yeah, this is a story from bad for worse. You saw him earlier, get out of sorts and lose all his momentum here. Might have seen this a little bit further back, but you can see Scooter 82 getting loose. He follows it in, like spotting weakness, probably got him the throttle to get the jump, but that's not what you want to see when you're spotting weakness out there on the field.
Yeah, got a bit excited maybe seeing a moment in front of him. Wanted to get the overtake, but fortunately he just backfired and ended up losing more momentum himself. And then as he tried to gather it up, maybe, you get in the stress of those moments, you want to try and recover as quick as possible, and that just ended up compounding the issue, causing more mistakes. And now he's down in 7th and looking to make that recovery drive. I'm sure we're going to see him still flying. We know how quick Dubtrue can be. But that leads Skydog out in the lead ahead of McEwen. It's just such a close gap between these two. They've put a little bit of a gap on the rest of the field though. But McEwen now is going to try and make the move. I didn't think it was going to be that close. He goes to the inside. This is what he did against Dubtrue a lap ago. Psydog just yields the position there, keeps it nice and tidy. Trying to line up now the exit. Try and get the power down. Now he's going to try and get side by side. Here we go. This is serious racing here between these guys as they fight potentially for the championship as well. McEwen's going to hold the inside line here into the hairpin. Psydog round the outside. He tries to do it round the outside. Surely not. That's going to give him the inside for the right-hander, but it's a bit of a chicane. So can he hold on? I think he's done it. What an absolute move. Great. Oh, no! Psydog's gone. I was talking him up because it was great driving before that. Oh, and he got caught out on the rejoin as well. What a move to get past. But then he's hit that curb wrong. And it straight away, doesn't take much. The car just launches sideways.
And it's punished him all the way down to 6. So he's joined the bad luck club with him and Ricciardo, who while we were cut away, he dropped down to 9th, but he's gotten 2 places back. So on balance, not so bad for Ricciardo, but for Psydog having to sit here and watch the battle for 3rd position between Norm as he makes a move on the outside and makes his way into a podium spot.
Great driving there. That is, of course, Psydog's teammate there, Norm and Psydog, in the Bay Karts outdoor racing team. We're going to love to see it in that livery there on Norm Bay Karts Racing. How good is that? He's currently in the podium positions, hunting down Scooter and trying to keep ahead of Alpha Finn in behind him, who's looking like he's got some decent pace ready to go here. He's got a little bit of slipstream action going on. He's going to be as brave as we saw McEwen launch down the inside here now. No, not going to have the overlap. You really have to make sure, and that's what I think McEwen managed to get away with it, is he made sure he had the overlap heading into that corner. It wasn't sort of a last minute send, as I did say. It's a tough place to get it done, but he got it done 2 laps in a row.
Seems to be a bit of a battle here unfolding in P7. I saw just at the back a shot. Hueso Caceres is just looking to make all kinds of moves on Ricardo there. This is pretty tight stuff, and like this can't be sustainable because it's just too much mental pressure.
It is great racing up and down the field as Ricardo goes a little bit wide. These guys tussling for every position. They want those points, and of course they love the battles. That is what it's all about here for us sim racing and in general motorsport fans. But now W-True is still in 5th. Psydog is behind him, crucially. But the championship battle might swing a little bit here in this race because it's McEwen who still leads us. He's got a 1.5 second gap at the lead of this race. As Psydog is now thinking about trying to make a move here on W-True. Wants to make that recovery drive through the field, and he's all over the back of him through the S's. You not really overtaking spots through there, but this left-hander is where you might be able to get it done. Is W-True going to cover off? No, he's not, as they set purple corners. And just like I mentioned, Psydog thinking about the outside. We saw Psydog thinking about the inside. It's W-True who's trying to hang it on around the outside. We saw that it can be done, but Psydog has got it done on the inside this time around. Just manages to cover over ahead of W-True, and now W-True is just going to have to brake a little bit early, make sure he doesn't cause any contact into that braking zone, and that is exactly what he does. So, sideways moment! Oh, just as after he gets past, he slides out sideways and loses that spot straight away.
I believe that's the curb that bit him on the last incident he had that dropped him like back to where he is now. So this Kyoto Yamagiwa seems to be a little bit of a thorn in the side of our resident G2 World Tourist.
Yeah, exactly right. We talked about how the grass can bite you, but it's appearing in this race, even just getting up on the curb in the wrong way can unsettle that car enough to really make you have a big moment here. But it is McEwen still leading us here after lap. Oh, sorry, on lap. No, we're going to cross the line. I thought I was going to mention there might have been a mistake there because he has lost a little bit of time. This gap's come down to 1 second here. Scooter 82 putting in a couple of good laps to close that gap down. Then it's another second back to Norm and then back to Alpha Male Finn. W-True now closing the gap on that sort of a battle group and trying to get through the field. Of course, all these drivers such high quality that it is tough to make that recovery drive after you, even for the guys fighting at the front. If you have a mistake, it's really, that recovery is going to be that much harder.
I mean, I guess McEwen's decided the best strategy to doing a penalty is just to go purple through the first sector. So, I mean, that's a pretty viable strategy. He's only got 0.2 to burn, so he must have just got a little bit exuberant with those track limits as he was looking to kind of eke out all the advantage he could against his teammate in Scooter 82.
Alright then, it's just settled down a little bit now as there are a few spaces. All these drivers just hammered down at the moment, trying to do qualifying laps, trying to just nail their lines, nail the braking points to try and get it done. And so far it is McEwen who is in the best position. He's of course one of our World Tour attendees from New Zealand, and he keeps setting these purple sectors. It's not hard to see it. He's been over to Sydney the most recently, competing for Corvette, I do believe. And yeah, just a class of the field. Looking to try and progress in Gran Turismo Sport as much as he can and keep going this year as well. Unfortunately, of course, the next World Tour has been cancelled due to the whole virus situation, which is a shame to see. But McEwen, nonetheless, ready to go for this year's championship in the FIA and been making great moves in the manufacturer's car.
Interesting that we're riding on with McEwen and he was sending purple sectors, but they seem to be superseded as quickly as they come in because Norm XC on that last lap has gone purple with a 1:30.3. So he's got the pedal to the metal for this lap.
Yeah, that is some fast times. So we talk about how the conditions are just ideal in the qualifying session. Of course, we do have fuel and tyre wear on 1 times here in these races. So to see the times still being so close to those qualifying times is just showing how good they're going. And we might have to take a look at the battle for 4th and 5th here because now W-True has managed to catch up. And now he does to the inside on the last second and managed to get it done nicely. Is he going to pull it up. He does pull it up. Maybe learning from McEwen there, as that has suddenly become an overtaking spot, which I did not expect to see. But W True now up into 4th position. Can we get... Oh, we just catch the replay a little bit late as he just tucks it up the inside. I think Alpha Finn must have seen it coming, but only at the last second. But he managed to stay out of it, and they get through there tidily. W True gets up to 4th and now tries to hunt down, close that 2-second gap with only 2 laps left to go. Or 1 and a bit. So it is still McEwen leading us away. Just managing that gap in the lead, it does feel like 1.3 seconds it is on the official timing boards ahead of Scooter 82, who's got Norm catching up to him and getting quite close, as they're going to just have 2 laps left to go as they cross the line. Sorry, final lap as they cross the line. McEwen now already through the first couple of corners, doing everything he needs to. Scooter 82, you can see them in the background, not too far away, but as I say, just managing that gap, ensuring he stays out in front, trying to pick up those maximum points and hunt down the championship fight. The battle though for 4th as Alpha Finn tries to come back here against W True. Got up beside him, but wasn't enough to get the pass done. On the last lap, can he make anything happen? W True is aware of it down into this corner. He's going to defend the inside. Alpha Finn on the outside. Not going to be an opportunity there, but if he can just keep it tidy, get the maximum speed on the exit, it can be an opportunity into the next braking zone. Alpha Male Finn has got a good run, and he has got the slipstream. W True, they're defending the inside for this left-hand hairpin. Side by side they come. We saw Sidog go right around the outside. W True, though, is he going to be hanging in? Still side by side a little bit. Oh, he just manages to cover him across. So he is going to stay in front, and with just a few corners left to go, surely he can hang on and make it to the end. Oh, but he needs to stay on the track. We've seen some big moments. Now into the final turn. Alpha Finn thinks about it. W True, though, keeping it tidy. And he surely is going to hang on, but it is going to be McEwen crossing the line for the win here in the sprint race and getting the fastest lap on the last lap by .001. Can you believe it? What a drive from McEwen. He wanted that bonus point as well. Then it is Scooter 82 in second, hanging on from Norm, who was hard charging at the end of that race and will feel a little bit robbed over that fastest lap situation. W True managed to hang on to 4th and recover a little bit after that earlier spin. Alpha Male Finn in 5th, a nice consistent drive from him. Sidog with a few big moments, dropping down to 6th in the end, and not too impressed. A couple of messages in chat there. And then it is Huzo, the newcomer, just jumped in this car and still managed to have some decent pace without much practice. And Ricardo, night shift, and down in 8th and 9th. There it is though, official confirmation of the results, and it is a huge congratulations to McEwen, who gets another race win. His 2nd in the championship. He just keeps raking in those podium positions and sitting at the top of that championship. There you go, race number 1, producing the results once again. Loved to see it. Some hectic battling. It did start to spread out a little bit at the front after some mistakes proved costly. And then, yeah, Scooter 82, Norm, both consistent, getting themselves on the podium. But W True and, of course, Sidog, big stories there after getting too much curb and ending up facing backwards. Unfortunate, but there is another race coming up. It's going to be race number 2. Stay tuned for that one. There's an opportunity maybe to recover and make up for that first race. So our new championship, virtual to reality, kicks off this year, and it's going to be awesome. We've got the opportunity for one of our drivers to go from the virtual world into a real race car at the end of the year. There's going to be multiple ways to qualify on Gran Turismo Sport. The first series is going to be the Renault Series, our one-make championship on GT Sport. Then we also have a time trial coming up later in the year and a special 2K Cup format. All different ways to qualify for the virtual to reality playoffs at the end of the year. And that's where all the top drivers are going to be fighting for a spot in a real race car at a real circuit. We've got the 2K Cup car lined up thanks to Cream Insurance, all costs covered. So it's going to be a massive opportunity. I can't wait to see all the racing action. How good is this photo? You've seen it in the background of the shot in the last couple of ones. And this is, of course, from one of our sponsors, Monkey Motorsport Photography. We love to have them on board. Have the picture in the background. That is, of course, just like something you could be winning in this championship. We have the prize for the top driver is going to take that home. And I've realized that's just the mic's right in front of that picture, but you got a close up, you got to see how good it is, and it looks even better in the real thing. But it is, of course, race number 2, Lago Maggiore, coming up shortly. We have the special shootout format, so if you are new, that means that you only get 1 lap during qualifying. You get the whole track to yourself, all eyes on you. It's full pressure situation, and really that's when we see the separation from the men and the boys, who can step up in those sort of situations.
The country might be going on lockdown very soon, but these races are ready to lick the stamp and send it here at our feature race in the Polyphony Grand Prix, and I cannot wait to get going.
Here we go then, we've made it into spectate mode. We are ready to race at Lago Maggiore, the feature race here in Lobby A. We're about to get things cracking. It is Sidog and McEwen who are going to be leading us away from the front row. Alpha Finn and W True row number 2, Gr.X ending up in 5th there ahead of Norm. So those are your front 3 rows. Definitely keep an eye on how this all unfolds. And we are way in racing. Sidog gets us away on the inside. He's got McEwen though round the outside with a great start. Is he going to be able to go? He does make the jump and cleanly gets out in front. Sidog knocking the start he wanted, slots back into 2nd spot, and then it is the battle behind them. Alpha Finn, Gr.X managed to make up a few positions, and Dub True maybe losing out on the jump.
A rocket start from McEwen. Like, is he our series' best starter? Like, it seems he gains places no matter where he is on the grid, and he's just able to make that car fly in ways the others struggling. Dub True in 4th. They're getting a bit of a battle with Gr.X. All might be worth checking out there. He is wheel to wheel and right on the inside. Oh
no! This
oh my goodness, see it.
Who's gone there? Is that
Alpha
Norm?
Male Finn.
Alpha Male is gone. Unfortunate for him. He's just ended up wide, touched the grass, and that's not the place you want to do it there at Ricardo Curve. And he's lost a lot of spots as a result. Such close battling between these guys on the opening laps, as Nismanaf getting very wide here through the S's. That's going to allow Huso to get amongst it and try and catch up. Trying to make a move though. This is not really a great spot to be tucked in behind someone. You can't really get past. Now he's going to tuck the inside though. He's going to have the inside right line heading into the big banked corner. But at the front it is McEwen still leading Sidog. Oh, it's going to be 3 wide. No way. Oh my goodness, who's going to get this Gr.X to the inside? Sorry, is that Gr.X? No, it's his teammate. Racing? Stuart McKenzie. Oh, he's gone. I can't watch. He is absolutely gone. And is that... Oh, I can't even keep track. This is too much happening.
Nismanaf has just spun, and it's crazy all over the field here. I'll quickly up to the front here. The hairpin just seemed to be undoing a few races there, and it's like a double heartbreaker for Nismanaf because he gained a few places and was sitting pretty in 9th, like leading up to that 3 wide battle, but 3 does not unfortunately go into 1.
There you go then. Big drama towards the back of the pack, but it is steady sailing out in front. McEwen leading us away with Sidog just looking like he's tucked into that slipstream potentially. So actually that's something we can talk about as well, because being in 2nd place is not necessarily a bad thing when you consider that fuel saving might be a factor in this race. So is he just tucking in there, maybe intentionally, or maybe not pushing as hard as he might in other circumstances to try and get the pass, because he knows he can just change gear earlier, save a little bit of fuel here early on in the race, and then later on that'll pay him back and he'll be able to go for those moves for the lead.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. Like Dub True is probably thinking the same sort of thing. If we chuck in with him, he'll be wanting to take onto the back of Sidol and, like you say, reap those slipstream benefits and save fuel. At the moment, yeah, he's on a heavy burn, and that'll kind of compromise his strategies if he was like hoping for that sort of benefit. Further back through the field, it looks like Ricardo is starting his climb back. He was in P6 at the end of the first lap, fell back to 8th, and he is looking to get right in amongst it as he's got Stuart McKenzie right up his
he's going to get it
on the inside.
No way.
The S's, and that sticks. Well done, Stuart McKenzie, to hold that together. Also, Ethan Chat and a rip to Huevo Caceres, who has dropped out. And I didn't quite see why, but it seems to be all developing up the front here.
Unfortunately, Gran Turismo is playing games on us, but no such games at the front, because it's just Sidog tucking right in behind McEwen here, just lurking. Any little mistake, this is where it's pressure as a driver. Both these guys really, have to maximize what they can do. If you're McEwen right now, you know that that Sidog is right there. Any little mistake, Sidog is going to be all over you, and of course one of the top drivers as well. You know that he's not going to miss an opportunity if he does get handed one. They're flying around the circuit, already set at 52.9, so really straight up to speed and pushing to try and extend that lead over third place as it extends now to 3.7 seconds back to W True. You can see him just in the background a little bit there, kind of on his own little island for the time being. So he's pulled ahead of Norm and Scooter 82 who are in 4th and 5th, and yeah, burning his fuel as well as he doesn't have the slipstream to try and sort of leech off of.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him because he's in an awkward sort of no man's land with a big gap back to 4th, and he's sort of out of the realm of possibility of sort of tacking onto the front too. So like saving fuel's not really an option, but apparently getting loose is. Where did that happen? That happened just out of that hairpin. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what lemonade he makes out of these lemons that he's being handed.
Exactly, it's a tough position to be in because you want to be saving fuel. We'll be telling him to save fuel anyway, but like I say, that's going to cost him time to those front two. But just comfortably in 3rd at the moment, and that's still, of course, a good position to be in. He's 2nd in the championship behind Sidog. As Sidog has made a move for the lead and jumps up into 1st place ahead of McEwen. You talked about it earlier, how he wasn't saving like perhaps I thought, and now he's really pushed and made the most of that opportunity. Made the most of his time on those first 3 laps. Got past McEwen and sets off about trying to extend that gap. Just gets a little bit of grass, pushing to the limit. That's for sure. Yeah,
and he still seems to be like maintaining that push. I mean, like maybe he thinks he's got the pace in the car to extend the gap and like force McEwen's hand in this place as he goes full send through that right-hander. Yeah, I'd be keen to see what kind of game he's playing. Maybe he's just kind of looking to just sort of make that alpha move and assert his dominance on this lobby for week 4.
Maybe indeed, and that's like one of the exciting things about these races is it's all going to come back together at the end. These guys opt for slightly different strategies, starts to spread out a little bit, and that's what we're seeing here as well. It's going to come back together at the end because the front guys are on medium. So if we look at what all these guys are doing, Sidog, McEwen, W True, Norm, those top 4 all on medium tires. And if we bring up the leaderboard so you guys can see this for yourselves as well, medium tires there, and then the rest of the runners down to Nismaneth all on the hard. So we can expect to see the likes of Stuart McKenzie, Scooter 82, maybe Night Shift sort of come back into this race at the end. But bad timing from me there as McEwen makes the move to get past on the big banked corner. Getting a replay of that now. He got side by side, got a good run heading into it, and really had the job done before they get to the turn. If you got the inside line there, pretty good spot to be in. Going back live, he is now in the lead of the race as they head toward the end of lap number 4. Only a third of the way through this one. There's plenty more action to unfold, and this back and forth battle looks set to continue through the final corner. This is where again you can get a good run, try and tee yourself up for turn number 1. There are definitely a few good overtaking opportunities on this track, and these guys know all about that. They've done a million laps around here, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a lot to manage like in the cockpits when you consider the sort of competition that you're racing on top of managing your brake points, your strategies, and whatever. You don't want anything to upset you there as McEwen gets very squirrely out of the, was it the hairpin? It was. And he just has to let Sidog race. Like he's got no momentum off that big moment, and this might be the opportunity that Sidog needs to get all the way up in front and maybe build a gap. It'd be, if you were him, would you look to break the toe as quick as possible, or what's your idea here?
Oh, I just want to say, what a massive moment. If you were McEwen, your heart will be racing after that one. Thankfully managed to catch it, but it was only just. For a second there, it could have gone either way, but McEwen hangs on to it, and now, like you say, maybe Sidog looks to try and pull away. It's a tough position to be in, because, obviously he's got the pace, but the slipstream does play such a role. So, to be honest, I think what I'd be doing is I'd be taking the save fuel strategy. We can see, based on how much they've burnt so far, that they're probably going to need to top up about 50%, and you can gain quite a lot of time by having a shorter pit stop than your rivals. Slide dog is what we saw in chat, and Sidog is really creating that name now as he keeps sliding through some of these corners, and you can see those rear tires starting to go off a bit. Sidog doing a great job, just that gap still half a second though. There's still plenty of slipstream opportunities as McEwen gets a great run out of the final corner, and that gap comes right back down again. W2 in the background, going to go into the pits off those hard tires, and he's running low on fuel there, so that is interesting to see. But maybe a couple of laps earlier than I might have expected that, particularly from our save fuel man. So these front runners maybe are doing a decent job of trying to shift early while still being locked in this tense battle.
Yeah, that's the great curse of not being able to dine out on the slipstream like our two runners have been doing. Like the way these guys have been exchanging positions, it's been almost like a cycle racer's peloton, like the way they're trading that slipstream, and it's built that gap back to third and fourth. And like the next battle, I think, is between Stuart McKenzie and Dub True. So yeah, like it's not incredibly surprising that Dub True hasn't been able to save fuel as much as maybe he would like to in ideal conditions, but to come in like right to the wire with like nine units, whatever that is, liters, it has. It'll be interesting to see like what happens once all these further stops eventuate and like where he'll come out.
Yeah, and whether maybe the undercut, changing tyres, or did we see what tyres he came back out on? He came back out on racing mediums. So Ethan's just put in chat earlier, who's going to go for that two stop, sorry. Are we going to see it? And I think we're seeing it from W True.
Yeah, and meanwhile this fight is just like completely heating up, and it'll be all the way into the pit lane at this rate. McEwen dives on the inside into the hip and gets in, but loses a lot of momentum, just like kind of wiggling on exit, and Psydog is keen to let him know that he's still there.
This is a cracking battle between these two, back and forth the whole race so far, and still fighting for the lead now. Now, does anyone... Oh, shoot! And still sliding around. Does anyone now react to W True? Does anyone come into the pits? And let's keep an eye on it. They're going to come around the pit lane entry now. Are they all both ducking in? They're both coming into the pits now, so they're copying each other there. Psydog has managed to save a little bit more fuel than McEwen here. So is he going to be able to jump him in the pit stop and come out in front? They're both going to need to put fuel on as well. Remember, 3 times fuel consumption, 8 times tyre wear, and you have to use the hard compound of tyres at some point. So keep an eye on what tyres these guys come out on as well. That could be a deciding factor. So Psydog comes out, does manage to jump him in the pits, takes the lead off of McEwen's hands after saving a little bit more fuel. Oh, but keep an eye on this. Psydog has got medium tyres, McEwen on the hards.
Yeah, the difference in compound is going to be interesting. Like, whether Psydog thinks he can make the rest of the race on those mediums. There's only 4 laps to go. Interesting to note as well, Normexy, who was in P4, he pitted behind our 2 runners that we're focusing on. And much like Dub True, similar sort of boat, he came in like with the E-light firmly in the on position.
And he's on hard tyres as well. So we're seeing very much a mix of strategy here, because these guys are going to have to stop again to take the hards at the end of the race. So 2 stoppers here from Psydog and W True. 1 stop, we assume, from McEwen and Norm. They've already got the hard tyres on, ready to go till the end. We might see them come in after 1 lap. We've seen that sort of strategy play out at World Tour events where you just don't want to run on the hard tyres. You know it's the slower compound of tyre. You want to make the most of the softer and carry that speed. You see Psydog just trying to get rid of the slipstream from McEwen behind him. 1.1 seconds back and still picking up a touch of slipstream there, getting a little bit closer, but Psydog needs to ditch him as quick as possible. He needs to make the most of those medium tyres in order to make the strategy work and try and make sure that McEwen is as slow as possible on those hards.
Yeah, you've called it before with that like sort of that World Tour strategy, that experience coming into play. Psydog just deciding that those racing hard tyres are not for him. We've nicknamed him a couple times here before, like Slide Dog, but here is a case of like the hounds and the hares, where he has just got to rabbit away until the races end, where he's got to like find an opportunity to crash in, dump those hards on, and then put in like 1 lap and hopefully hold on to his lead. So he's putting it all on the line to claw back those points that he lost in previous rounds and just kind of start that redemption arc in best of fashion as he can.
Exactly right, and we saw him gain about 0.7 in sort of 3/4, half a lap there, so he's definitely got the speed, but it's going to be really interesting to see if it's enough speed to make up for a pit stop difference. 2 seconds is the gap at the moment. He's got about 4 laps before he's, or 3 laps before he's going to have to come into the pits. Not much time to try and pull this gap, to try and make up that time for how much it's going to cost him in the pit stop. Psydog with that fastest lap, 152.7, and that is of course because he switched over onto the medium tyres and now has a 3-second lead ahead of McEwen. No such gap between these guys though, as Mercado hunts down Alpha Male Finn here on the medium tyres versus, hunts down Stuart McKenzie, Alpha Male Finn in front of them, but this is again a battle between 2 different tyre compounds and 2 different strategies playing a role.
Yeah, Ricardo's like really carrying a lot of momentum through this thing, so he just needs to keep it tidy, and he should make short work of the Mistral Racing representative. And you can see he's ducking and diving, looking for an opportunity. He's surely hoping to make his move up into the corner that we've just named after him.
Ricciardo curve. Can he make the most of it? Oh,
big slide.
He wanted that good exit. He wanted to line it up, get the power down. He's still managed to carry quite a lot of speed. Are we going to see him dart out to the inside? We are indeed. Stuart McKenzie doesn't cover it. Oh,
Goes very wide.
no.
Oof, that is unfortunate.
What? No way.
Big holes.
How did he not spin? What a drift.
We've got Slide Dog and apparently mad Stuart McKenzie, who gets out onto the marbling, dips a toe onto the bit where there's just absolutely no grip, but catches the slide and is only a second back from Ricciardo for his troubles.
That is incredible stuff to see. That is going to be a moment that I'm going to watch back on the replay, because how did he hang on to that? I thought he was done for all money.
Yeah.
But he carries on. He holds on to 7th spot, and like we've been saying, every spot counts, so that is quite critical there. As again, the brakes glow, they're in the braking zone, and again he's sliding, he really wants to push, but it's tough on those hard compounded tyres.
Stuart McKenzie's operation process through this lap here just seems to be full opposite lock and mashing Control S on whatever keyboard he's got handy, because he's just been going for big saves all lap. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so things are starting to spread out a little bit more now as we head towards the end of this feature race. Stuart McKenzie now opting to come into the pit to get rid of those hard compounded tyres. He wants to go flying for the last couple of laps, chuck some mediums on it, I reckon, and see what he can get up to. But back at the front of the pack, it is Sidog who continues to extend that lead. It's out to 4.7 seconds now. This is going to be so close when he takes that pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, like we're just crossed Ricciardo curve and going through the S's. He's looking as tight as he was in the shootout. Hopefully I haven't just jinxed him. Sends it over that curb. This is the one I'm worried about. No, we're good at safe as houses. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's using a lot of that sausage curb though.
He's taking big old bites. So he might have skipped dinner, but he's coming up to this hairpin, and it's all to play for here. Just sneaking a look at his lap. 52.7 is his last, and he is tidy as you like there. A little bit of a protest from those rear tyres. Maybe they're starting to go off a little bit.
I think they are starting to wear a little bit. Those rear tyres. He's of course
out
on the mediums right now and pushing to the maximum. You can see just those red bars there in the bottom left. That's an indication of the tyre wear. Great to have all the stats here, and of course the fuel there as well, down to just a quarter. So we are expecting to see him come into the pits at the end of this lap, run those one lap on the hard compounded tyres, and in theory he might just squeak out in front of McEwen, but it's going to be so close between these two.
Yeah, he's low on fuel, but you reckon he's got enough to finish the lap?
Let's take a look at McEwen.
McEwen is 2.
Oh, he's got a touch more, so it's about similar, but let's have a look. Here is Sidog in the pit lane. This is for the lead of the race, remember. Maximum points on offer. McEwen comes out, there's Sidog. Just ahead. McEwen is inside though. 1 second behind. Last lap. This is Sidog's to lose, surely. He's played a master stroke with the two-stop strategy. You can see, though, how close these strategies are, and I absolutely love that these battles come back together like this.
Interesting note as he comes out of the pit lane. His avatar's looking through the corner, but the way it's positioned, it looks like he's staring at his mirrors as McEwen comes to hunt him down. Very cinematic moment there from the game, and it's just really sort of establishing the story here of the hounds and the hares between Sidog and McEwen on this final lap at Lago Maggiore.
Absolutely great driving between these two, and really, like, we talk about how costly a little mistake can be in the qualifying, in the shootout format, but there's just been no mistakes here in the race. Like, these guys are just lap after lap putting in the times and really nailing every corner that they need to. It's such close battle between these two, and it's such a high quality driving from both of them.
Yeah, I mean, like in this race, there's only been like a couple of bumps like back through the field where Ricciardo lost a couple of places, which he's eventually got back. He's now back in 6th. But I mean, maybe the trick is we've got to name all of our races Grand Prix, because this has been the most professional performance that I've seen to date from our entire field. So I mean, kudos to our drivers.
McEwen has managed to close that gap by just a few tenths, but as it comes down to the wire, McEwen is a little bit on the stuff with no grip. He's a lot on the stuff with no grip. So he was absolutely pushing to the limit. We've got the replay here.
Yeah,
Gets it out wide. Oh, he ran wide. Oh, then he must have done it again though. He's done it a second time, and when you're on the brakes like that, the car's not going to slow down on the grass. Finds himself in the wall, but thankfully had enough of a buffer. But thankfully for Sidog.
That is all she wrote.
Great drive from Sidog, the comeback that he needed after that first race. McEwen doing what he needs to do in second place. Didn't quite work out in the end there. Opted to run the hard tyres a little bit longer, and really, but still picking up a massive points haul. Then W2 as well, he's still in this championship fight. He come home in 3rd position. Sort of a quiet race for him. It ended up spreading out a little bit. And then it was Norm in 4th, who continues to bag those results and get the points for his team as well. Remember, Baykarts Racing teamed up with Sidog. There's a huge points haul for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing like Monkey Motorsport Manager online, you'd be really happy with Baykart Racing, who are able to bring home a 1st and 4th, with Sidog on top of the mountain looking down.
With 3 stars. Look at that, Sidog with a massive result.
Yeah, he's at the top of the mountain, halfway there.
There we go. It was Sidog and McEwen battling it out the whole time. Sidog just with that little edge, that little margin, and that 2-stop strategy that brought him over the line to get the win. He didn't bin it on the curbs this time, which was great to see, and produced the result. Yeah, so that is it. 2 great races. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Great driving from McEwen, Sidog, and the rest of the field, really. There was up and down. We sort of tuned into that battle a lot because it was at the front, but we love to see the driving up and down the field, and in both lobbies, indeed, proving to be huge and a lot of fun. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks again to the admins. Thanks EVP for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. We'll see you all next week. We might see some new pictures at the start of the stream. It seems like a few guys wanted to get involved, and make sure you chuck those in Discord. If you're not involved in Monkey Motorsport Club, get involved. It's a lot of fun. You saw what we did tonight. We'll be back. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll see you there.
Yep.
Wear your sunscreen.
Stay safe, stay happy, and save fuel.
Stay awesome. Awkward outro. Let's go.